Good morning and good afternoon, my fellow nerdlings. My name is Isaiah Ronan, and I have come to teach you the basics about D&D. The people who wants to play D&D but haven't got around to doing it, and to the people who have a fascination about it, about watching Stranger Things or watching the movie Dungeons and Dragons. But either way, it's good. And in this video, I'm going to teach the people who really want to play how to create a character. And so, but before I do that, I'd like the people who are watching to like and subscribe to my video. It will be very helpful. I'll be very blessed that you do. And I'll respond in kind. And thank you very much. I'll give a shout out to anybody that does it. Thank you. And let's begin. Okay, first and foremost, my name is Isaiah Ronan, as I said before in the intro. And the books I'll be referencing will be the Player's Handbook, 2014 version. I want to stay faithful. I have not yet become accustomed to the 24 version because, I'm a faithful guy. I'm a one book kind of guy. Then there will be The Tyranny of Dragons. And then Volvo's Guide to Monsters. Now, here's the basic thing that people need to know. You always have to choose a race. It doesn't matter which race. That in the D&D Guide 2014 Players Manual, they have the basic races from human, tiefling, half-orc, half-elf, and dwarf, and gnome, and halfling. But I'm come here to tell you today that those are not the only races you have to choose. For example, you can choose to be a centaur. If nobody knows what a centaur is a half-man, half-horse creature. It'd be great for combat, open combat, but they're not great at sneaking. Generally because they have a large body and 4 legs with hooves. But who am I to judge? I don't discriminate. And there is minotaurs. If anybody's familiar with Greek mythology, centaur is part of Greek mythology and minotaur is part of Greek mythology. But the thing is, a minotaur is half man, half bull. They give the features of all bull, but stand upright on 2 legs. And then there are lamias. Now, when people hear lamias, they're not thinking of the snake, the half woman, half snake creature. This woman is kind of like a centaur, but not. It doesn't make any sense to me either, but bear with me. You got to also know that each race, comes with a future trait, a racial trait, and they come with abilities that normal races do not have. Now, bear with me just a second. I'm new to the streaming thing, so yeah, I have to forgive me. And the most common race that people play in D&D will be humans, half elves, or high elves. But I'm come here to tell you today that's not the only race that you have to play. And the first basic thing when you choose your race, you got to make sure that you just don't choose it just because it looks cool. You have to choose it because it fits your kind of aesthetic. Or that, you can relate to this creature in any kind of way. It'd rather be, a drow. People hardly play drows because drows are the most hated race in all D&D besides goblins and, ogres and tieflings who are seen as devil spawn. Now I'm turning to the chapter 2 I know you can see this kind of blurry. Chapter 2, races. Now, I said before, the race you want to choose, you can go choose it. There's nothing holding you back. Your options are literally limitless. There are dwarves. Now you got to be careful with this one, because there are hill dwarves and there are mountain dwarves. Now if you go by, actual mythology, dwarves are known for being great builders, great craftsmen, people who value gold above, how would I put this? Value gold above being sensible. They're kind of greedy creatures, again, akin to elves, who often see themselves as holier than thou beings, because they have a long life expectancy, while when dwarves completely, literally dwarf that life expectancy. But here are the benefits for being a dwarf. For example, a hill dwarf, your wisdom score increases by 1. Dwarven toughness, your hit point maximum increases by 1, and increases by 1 by every time you gain a level. And languages, you can speak, read, and write Common and Dwarvish. Dwarvish is full of hard consonants, guttural sounds, and those characteristics spill over into whatever other language a dwarf might speak. Now, when you want to speak a language, or you want to choose a race, like when you choose a language, it's like, that actually comes with class too. After you choose a race, you have to choose your class, and sometimes those classes will determine, or background classes or background will determine how many languages you will speak. I know that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me either when I start playing, but now bear with me. And there are such things called Duergar. Duergar is a race of underground dwarves. They barely see sunlight. They mainly stay literally underground, minding their own business, and barely come up to say hello. If you disturb them, they will attack you. That's how Duergar are. It's not because they're violent. It's because they're protective of what they have and what they own and where they live. And now, elves. I know I'm skipping around a whole bunch about the dwarves, but you gotta stick with me. Elves are immune to sleep. Immune to magical sleep. They have advantages of being charmed. But you gotta know the difference between a high elf and a half elf. A half elf is somebody who's part elf and part some other race. Now you don't have to be just half elf, half human. You could be half elf, half tiefling, half elf, half orc, half elf, half Goliath, and any other race you would. Oh, it could be half. It could be half elf, half hobgoblin. If you choose to go that route, I don't know. I never went that route myself, but they're usually slender and graceful in frame. Now, elves are seen as the most, one of the most easiest races to play with in D&D, simply because they're one of the first races to be created in D&D. Now, don't quote me on that, okay? I'm just saying what I've learned. And since they lived such a long time, depending on how old you make your elf character, they'll be knowledgeable about very certain things in certain time periods, and either in a main setting that's already being created or a homebrew. Let's say your elf is about 500, 800 years old. Okay. They will know very knowledgeable things based on what they have seen in their regions or what they heard about during that time, like wars, individuals, politics, go on, trade. Elves. Although elves reach physical maturity at about the same age as humans, the elven understanding of adulthood goes beyond physical growth to accomplish worldly experience. An elf typically claims adulthood and adulthood name at the age of 100 and can live to be 750 years old. Now, this right here, that could be tweaked a little bit. You don't have to live up to 750 years old. You can be even older. Like Lord of the Rings kind of elves, elves that don't literally age at all. They stay what they look like. They also have dark vision. Now, I'll explain to you what dark vision is. Dark vision is when, it's very, like, let's say, like you enter a cave that literally has no lights. And, and you have, like, let's say, like 2 or 3 humans in your group. But you have one elf, one high elf or half elf, who actually have that ability to see through darkness, and that's dark vision. But it's only able to see up to 30 to 60 feet, depending on what class you take or what ability you take, or like you have some kind of magical item. Anybody can see in dark vision, but sometimes they gotta come in handy with like seeing the dark goggles, like X-ray vision goggles, stuff like that, based on the campaign you're in. But elves are one of the only races in D&D that has dark and the inherent ability to see through darkness. The other one being dwarves. And now Goliaths. Goliaths are a half-giant race. They're often seen as barbaric because all they know about is being barbaric. They know all, and war and battle is all they know. Based on the campaign setting, your DM chooses to place them as. But here's the thing: a Goliath can be peaceful, a Goliath can be evil. If anybody has seen Critical Role, the character Grog's group, they were evil people. But Grog was one of the only Goliaths in that campaign to actually see through, the crap. And wanted to leave that place. But was beaten to a bloody pulp because of it. Because he was seen as cowardice. So if anybody chooses to play as a half-giant, one of their languages they can speak is, self-explanatory. They can speak giants, common, and another language of their choosing. Now, you don't have to go a complete barbarian route. You can go either cleric, druid, wizard, monk, sorcerer, rogue, ranger, all those good classes for a barbarian or a paladin or a cleric if you're feeling risky, if you feel like killing people. Now, I'm going to do something weird. I'm going to skip all the other races for now. And I'm going to go straight into the classes. Okay. First and foremost, one of the most popular classes that people just love to play is Barbarian. Barbarians are people who are chock full of hit points. They are literally the tanks of a party. They're able to sustain great amount of damage because of their physicality, their skill in warfare and on a battlefield, and for their feats of strength. But not very smart. Depending on what age you want them on the class, you want them to be a barbarian cleric, barbarian wizard, barbarian sorcerer, whichever route they route. But you go straight barbarian. Your constitution and your strength will be your main stats. Intelligence, not so much. Because what the main stats are for a barbarian, like I said, constitution and strength. Because a barbarian prides themselves, on their strength and their ability to withstand so much pain. They have a feature for every barbarian class called Rage. And what that is like when you go into battle or you enter initiative, on your turn, you rage as a bonus action. I don't know if that's the same in the 2024 D&D rules. I haven't read the D&D rules for 2024, so I'm just going off what I've learned from the 2014. Let's say when you go into combat, you rage. You cannot be charmed, nor can you be frightened. Yes, and you have advantage of strength checks and saving throws. When you make a melee weapon attack using strength, you gain a bonus to the damage roll that increases as you gain levels as a barbarian, as shown in the rage. Damage column of the barbarian table. You have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. So what that means, when you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, that means, let's say somebody, like an enemy, came and hit you with a club and it dealt 20 damage. You only take half that. If somebody came and stabbed your character in the shoulder and that did 16 points of damage, that's half to 8. And that's something called relics. Like any other thing, barbarians don't necessarily have to wear armor to have a high AC. That's what some people get wrong. And I've seen, like I said, I'm gonna keep crediting to Critical Role. Critical Role, Grog does not wear armor. The only thing he has as basically armor are the Titanstone knuckles. But everything else, his AC is 20. Because his body is literally built of nothing but muscle, of 0% body fat, and he just, he goes into battle headstrong, not fearing anything, with his handy axe and just his handy axe, and he just goes in there just swinging and hitting enemies like he does what he does best. He's Wolverine of Critical Role. He's the best at what he does, and he is the literal epitome of what a barbarian is in the D&D world. Now, I've listened to Critical Role many times, and Grog by far is it's my favorite character. Shout out to Critical Role, by the way. I love your show, and I hope you watch this. I don't know if will, but here's the hoping. And there's something called Danger Sense for a barbarian. At second level, you gain an uncanny sense of when things nearby are as they should be, giving you the edge when you dodge away from danger. You have advantage on dexterity saving throws against effects that you can see, such as trap spells, to gain the benefit. You can't be blinded, deafened, or incapacitated. So at second level, barbarians are already overpowered with danger sense. They can sense any surrounding that seems off to them. Now, let's say your group is walking through a forest, and you see, like nobody notices anything, but his barbarian senses are tingling, and he sees, and basically his senses notice that there's somebody hiding in the trees, hiding in the bushes, and he tells everybody to be on guard. But the attackers, the ambushers, do not know this. And so the barbarians do best. They don't go. Sometimes they don't go with a plan. Sometimes they go with a half-baked plan. But somehow, sometimes works in their favor. Not noticing what is actually attacking them. But some barbarians just don't care. They just go in for the fight. And it's just like they live for the fight. They live for the battle. It's like a dream to them. And there, at third level, you choose a path that shapes the nature of your rage. Choose the path of the Berserker or the path of the Totem Warrior, both detailed at the end of the class description. Your choice grants you futures at third level and again at 6th, 10th, and 14th levels. Now for paths, these are subclasses for barbarians. And let's see. Okay, Path of the Berserker. That's called one of the primal paths. As seen in here. I don't know how much you can see. I know it's still blurry. This is my first stream, so bear with me. You have to forgive me. With some barbarians, rage is meant to end. Rage is the means to an end. That ends being violence. The path of Berserker is a path of untrammeled fury, slick with blood. As you enter the Berserker's rage, you're thrilled in the chaos of battle, heedless of your own health or well-being. And now that's the true nature of a Berserker barbarian. They live for the blood. They live for the carnage. They live for the chaos. Any enemy that come what may, they come slashing at it like nobody's business. They do what they do best. They love what they do best, and they're good at it. And they're not ashamed of it. At least some of them are ashamed of it. And hold on for a minute. That better? See me in the light? See what I'm wearing? I wore this just for this occasion. I'm not a priest. And there is something called frenzy rage. Now, if any of you are familiar with the term frenzy rage, if anybody's listened to Critical Role, this is what Grog used on a regular basis when he reached this path at third level. You can go into frenzy when you rage. You do so for the duration of your rage. You make a single melee weapon attack as a bonus action on each of your turns. After this one, when you're ready to end, you suffer one level of exhaustion as described in Appendix A. And so, when they say suffer 1 point of exhaustion, it means as it sounded. Exhaustion puts you at disadvantage for saving throws and ability checks. Now, what that is, saving throws. Well, okay, let's say somebody threw an arrow, somebody was firing an arrow at you out of nowhere. You did not notice this person firing an arrow at you. The DM will tell you to make a dexterity saving throw. If you succeed on that dexterity saving throw, the arrow misses you by either nearly missing it or missing you completely. If you fail it, that means you take damage, whether it be 5, 10, or more damage, depending on the arrow, depending on the individual who's shooting it. And an ability check is when they have your modifier above your character sheet. There is strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Now, and like I said, for barbarians, their main stats is strength and constitution. If you go straight barbarian, like I said, you want a multi-class, go out, do you. I am not here to judge or make people pick for them, pick people's things for them. Now, let's see. And that's something you get at, you know, mindless rage at 6th level for a barbarian. You can't be charmed, frightened while raging. But if you are charmed or frightened when you enter your rage, the effect suspended for the duration of the rage. And then there is a intimidating presence. Now, intimidating presence is, it says beginning at 10th level, you can use your action to frighten someone with your menacing presence. When you do so, choosing one creature that you can see within 30 feet of you, if the creature can see you or hear you, it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, DC equal to 8 plus your proficiency bonus. And plus your charisma modifier, or be frightened of you until the end of your next turn or subsequent turns. You can use your action to extend the duration of the effect on the frightened individual until the end of your next turn. This effect ends if your creature ends this turn out in the line of sight or more than 60 feet away from you. If the creature succeeds on a saving throw, you cannot use this feature on that creature again for 24 hours. Now, when somebody has the frightened condition, they cannot move forward. They can only back away, unless you concede or say, I think is a wisdom saving throw, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I just read it. Wisdom saving throw. Yes, I was right the first time. Forgive me. A wisdom saving throw is basically affecting like your will, and so like if you are charmed. And if you like somebody's about to hypnotize charm you, you have to make a wisdom saving throw. If you fail, you'll be charmed by the person or be frightened by that person for the duration of the spell, or as long as that person is still conscious or still breathing. And so, you know, it's it's a funny thing with barbarians, man. Just like they are very aggravating to play against and very fun to play with. I've played against people who had barbarian class, and for me, my class, especially my favorite class in D&D, will always and forever will be the wizard, divination class. Shout out to all my divination wizards who play in those campaigns. Hats off to you. And plus, and there is another class, another path for the barbarian. It's called Path of the Totem Warrior. And I'm about to read that to you. So do you understand what that class actually is? Because I actually find that class pretty interesting. And the Path of the Totem Warrior is a spiritual is a spiritual journey as the barbarian accepts a spirit animal as a guide, protector, and inspiration. In battle, your totem spirit fills you with supernatural might, adding magical level fuel to your barbarian rage. Most barbarian tribes consider a totem animal to be kin to a particular clan. In such cases, it is unusual for an individual, to have more than one totem animal spirit, though exceptions may exist. Spirit Seeker. This is what the totem warrior. Yours is a path that seeks attunement with the natural world, like all the nature around you, giving you a kinship with beasts. At third level, when you adopt this path, you gain the ability to cast a beast sense and speak with animal spells, but only as rituals as described in chapter 10 of spellcasting. And totem spirits. At third level, when you adopt this path, you choose a totem spirit and gain its future. You must make or acquire a physical totem object, an amulet of similar adornments that incorporates fur or feathers, claws, teeth, or bones of the totem animal. At your opinion, as your option, you gain minor physical attributes that are reminiscent of your totem spirit. For example, if you have a bear totem spirit, you might be usually hairy and thick-skinned, or if you are a totem and an eagle, your eyes turn bright yellow. So what that means, self-explanatory. I don't need to say anything, but I'm gonna say it anyway. That means you take on some of the attributes of your spirit animal. Let's say if you had your spirit animal is a cat, rather be a lynx or a tiger or a lion, you gain some of the physical attributes like cat eyes or sometimes the fangs. If your spirit animal is a snake, you probably gain the feature of a snake, like some of its skin feature, like the scales, the tail, or for all intents and purposes, you might gain the attributes of a rat if you want to choose to be a rat. I have no idea who would choose a rat to be the totem spirit animal, but I'm not here to judge. I don't discriminate, and so that is a path of the totem warrior. Now, here are the examples of each totem animal you can take. A bear, while raging. Excuse me, let me sit down for a minute. Let me see all my beautiful face right here. While raging, you have resistance to all damage except psychic damage. The spirit of the bear makes you tough enough to stand up to any punishments. That is a bear. The bear totem makes you more durable. He has all damage except psychic damage. So you're out of luck if you want to be the bear, but you want to be durable, go all out. Do you? I'm not here to judge. Eagle. When your totem spirit animal is an eagle, while you are raging, other creatures have disadvantage on opportunity attacks. Opportunity attacks. Words are hard. And so opportunity attack rolls against you. You can use the dash action as a bonus action on your turn. The spirit of the eagle makes you into a predator who can weave through the fray with ease. Now, everybody knows the eagle is a bird of prey. And it has a good vantage point. And so you have advantage. Other people have disadvantage on your opportunity attack rolls against you because you can take the dash action or as a bonus action. And then there is the wolf. While you are raging, your friends have advantage on melee attack rolls against any creature within 5 feet of you that's hostile to you. The spirit of the wolf makes you a leader of hunters. So everybody knows wolves are natural hunters, pack leaders, leaders of every hunt they to be on. And you have the kind of attribute, not the physical attributes of a wolf, but the character traits of a wolf. A wolf, some people who instill the spirit animal of the wolf have the natural affinity for leadership. So it might not be good leadership, but be leadership nonetheless, depending on who you play your character as or what you want your character to be, what kind of personality they have. And then at 6th level, you gain a magical benefits based on the totem animal of your choice. You can choose the same animal you selected at 3rd level or a different one. You gain the might of a bear. Your carrying capacity, including maximum load and maximum lift, is doubled. And you have advantage of strength checks made to push, pull, lift, or break objects. So as a bear, your strength increases immeasurably. And, you have advantage on strength checks that involve, pushing things, pulling things, or breaking things, depending on what you want to do. An eagle. You gain the eyesight of an eagle. You can see up to 1 mile away with no difficulty because, bird eye vision is very far better than humans. And we see 1 mile with no difficulty, able to discern any fine details as though looking at something no more than 100 feet away from you. Additionally, dim lights don't impose disadvantage on your wisdom perception checks. Now you gain gain advantage on perception checks. It does not impose disadvantage. That's what I take away from it. You gain the hunting for the wolf. You gain the hunting sensibilities of a wolf. You can track other creatures while traveling at a fast pace. You can move stealthily while traveling at a normal pace. And at level 10, a spirit walker barbarian, you can cast a commune with nature spell, but only as a ritual. And ritual spells, you have they take time to complete. Some ritual spells take 1 minute. Some ritual spells can take up to 10 minutes to cast in D&D time, not actual time. So you got to be careful. You got to buy a fast, secluded place where you're not in immediate danger. So you got to be around. You got to be aware of the surroundings you're in. If your teammates will go for a short rest or a long rest, it has to be an area where you're not being, you know, physically watched or magically watched. But you can't have the magically watched one because that can be tricky. And so at 14th level, at 14th level, you gain a magical benefit based on a totem animal of your choice. You can choose the same animal you selected previously on a different one. Next, bear. While you're raging, any creature within 5 feet of you that's hostile to you has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you or another character within this feature. And enemy it is immune to this effect if it can't see or hear you, or it can't be frightened. So it has to be within 5 feet of you. If you have the bear totem, it has to be flat in front at 5 feet of you in order for it to have disadvantage or its attack rolls against anybody other than you. But it does have disadvantage with, like, if it can't see you or hear you, it does not have disadvantage. So it may have advantage on you or just normal rolls. And the eagle, while raging, you have a flying speed equal to your current walking speed. This benefit works only a short burst. You fall in your turn in the air, and nothing else is holding you aloft. So when you're eagle, you have the flying speed of an eagle, but up to like a certain feet, your character is allowed to walk, like 30 feet, 45 feet, or 60 feet. Now, depending on your class and your race, or an improvement score, an ability improvement you decide to take when you level up. And so that is the barbarian. Now let's move on to the next class that some people love to play. It's not, I'll say it's in the top 5 classes to play. And that is the BARD Bard. And the Bard, let me tell you, it's very charismatic. So when you play a Bard, your main stats will be charisma. So the ultimate riz. And so bards are people who, like I said, they live for charisma. They live for, they live in the moment, not the future, not the present, but in the moment. Bard, sissy. In the world of D&D, words and music are not just vibrations of air, but vocalizations with power of their own. So basically, D&D bards, their music literally have power. Let's say you're a bard of the College of Lore. You have something called a cutting words. When an enemy attacks you, or they attack one of your teammates, let's say it hits, and they deal, let's say, they deal, let's say, 15 or 16 damage, and you decide to cutting's word that attack. When that happens, you have to roll a d6, and you will choose, and the dice will decide, because the dice in D&D literally tell the story. The D&D is all about probability, baby. You can't do anything all willy nilly as you like, because that comes with consequences for your character. And so we roll that d6. It would say, let's say the damage is like 15, and they rolled a 5 on the die. That subtracts 5 for the 15, so it just makes it 10 damage. But it just but sometimes it comes in handy at some points. It does not come in at some points, because if, let's say, you're fighting somebody who's a barbarian, some barbarians can attack in 3 times in one round. Oh no, in one turn. Excuse me, in one turn. And let's say you want cutting words, the one with the highest damage. That still leaves them, vulnerable to the other two attacks. I mean, you'll alleviate some of the damage, but not all the damage. But at least you helped out in some small way. Any small way helps. True bars are not common in the world of D&D. Not every minstrel singing in a tavern or jester convorting in a royal court is a bard. Discovering the magic hidden in the music excuse me, requires that most troubadours and jugglers lack. It can be hard to spot the difference between these performers and true bards. So a bard's life is spent wandering across the land, gathering lore, telling stories, and living on the gratitude of audiences. So what that means, a bard is a person of the world. They travel from place to place, entertaining people who want to listen, who have the itching ear for music. Now, creating bard. Bards thrive on stories, whether their stories are true or not. Now, bards are skilled liars. Now, if you want to look at, Critical Role, for example, the character Scanlan Shorthall is very good at deception, very good at telling lies, because his main stat is charisma. He lacks strength, he lacks the constitution, but he makes up for it in a big way with his charisma. And he's able to charm his way out of literally any situation, whether it be a precarious situation or a situation where he has to tell the truth but doesn't want to. So, and he like somebody can roll against his deception with a insight check. If you fail the insight check, your character immediately believes, oh yeah, he's telling the truth. I believe him. I trust him all the way. If you succeed on that insight check, then you know he's just bullshitting. And so with a bard, spellcasting, like their armor, they can only wear. If you go straight bard or you choose a multi-class, whatever you like to do for you, you do you. A bard can only wear light armor, simple weapons, hand crossbow, long swords, rapiers, short swords. Well, that depends. Long sword thing, that depends on what race you choose to be, like gnome, dwarf. You can necessarily carry a long sword if you are a short member of a short race. Halfling, gnome, let's see, what's the other? Dwarf, fairy. You won't be able to carry an item such as a long sword because it's in the name. It's a long sword. So you have to carry a weapon that matches the size of your character. Then there is equipment. Now, bards are usually seen carrying some sort of instrument, whether it be a lyre, a flute, a pan flute, a shawm, a drum, or just their voice in general. Because sometimes I've heard people play a bard without using a single instrument. It's weird, but they made it work somehow, and I don't hate it. I'm not mad at them. And let's see. And since bards are spellcasters, there are something things called cantrips. Now, cantrips are not powerful spells. Sometimes they can be, sometimes not so much. Cantrips are spells that you use at an unlimited rates. There's no, like I said, self-explanatory. You can use it an unlimited amount of times. It's rather if you want to conserve your spell slots, or you just want to just feel that cantrips are the best way to go. Like say for example, when you're a bard, the amount of at level 1, the amount of cantrips you can learn to know is 2, and you don't learn a third cantrip until level 4. And you don't know another one. You won't learn a fourth one until level 10. That's the amount a bard can learn is 4 cantrips. No more, no less. Now for spells, they can learn. At first level, they learn 4 spells. At second level, 5 spell. They learn a level, another spell that puts them at 5. And at third level, they learn another one that makes 6. They learn another one at 4 and that makes it 7. And at level 5, that makes it 8. The level 6, they're 9. And it goes on and so forth. And you don't learn another spell to level 13, which puts you at 16 spells. And the maximum spells that a bard can learn is a total of 22 spells. Because the level cap for D&D is level 20. And so the spell cap they are able to learn is 22. Remember that. And all things. You can use a spellcasting focus is a spell you use as spellcasting focus for which you use for your hard spells. Now, if you want to use a charm, that charm would be your spell focus. Spellcasting focus. You can use that to cast your spells with. And that should be self-explanatory. You can use anything as an instrument. Well, not anything. Don't quote me on that. And so you can, like I said, guitar. Like if you're feeling risky, you can use a guitar. You can use a lute, flute, lyre. Let's see, a harp. If you're big enough to carry a harp around. And then there's something called bardic inspiration. Now, I'm new to bard class myself because I play at a campaign where I play a mute bard. Now, being mute and a bard do not mix. This I know. But if you learn from history, some people made it work. For example, Beethoven. And then there was, he wasn't mute, but he was blind. Ray Charles made it work. Stevie Wonder made it work. Because when they lacked in those senses, they made up with their musical talent. So that's what my character is. He's a musical bard with no voice, but he's able to make it work because he writes and he does sign language. And shout out to my DM, Cancer Moon Cleric. You can follow her on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch. But once again, her name is Cancer Moon Cleric. Shout out to her and everything she does. I love her. I love her as a DM. If I can refer any DM, it will be her. Cancer Moon Cleric. Follow her. You will not be disappointed. And when you say, let's say, bardic inspiration, you can do just about anything to give your teammates bardic inspiration. And that is, let's say, you like you're about to go into combat. Like, you want your teammate to have some sort of advantage in a fight. Let's say, like you said a musical note to your companion. And they say they're ready to do an attack roll on an enemy. And they roll low, not really low, but not high enough to hit the enemy. But they have a D6, and that's when they use for bardic inspiration. Let's say they rolled a 12 for attack, and the enemy's armor class is 15, and that was not enough to hit them. And they had to remind them, or you remind them, that they have bardic inspiration, and that bardic inspiration will, like say, as a D6. And let me just show you what D6 looks like, just in case I forget before the video ends. A D6 looks like this. Everybody can see it? It looks like this. You roll that. And they let's say, like I said, the armor class is 15, but they rolled a 12 on the D20 die. Make it. This is what a D20 die looks like. It's literally a 20-sided die. And that's they rolled that bardic inspiration. And they rolled a 3, which puts their attack roll up at 15. And that beats the enemy's AC. And they hit the enemy. And so that comes in handy when you're a bard. But if I'm not mistaken, you can only use bardic inspiration 6 times a day, 5 or 6 times a day. Don't quote me on it. I'm still learning myself. And so they'll have to complete a long rest to gain all those back. Not a short rest, but a long rest. This how they describe. Because I just use my own interpretation, but here's how they describe it in the book. Once within the next 10 minutes, the creature can roll the die and add the number rolled to one ability check. Like I said, attack roll or saving throw it makes. The creature can wait until it rolls the D20 before deciding to use the bardic inspiration die, but must decide before the DM says whether the roll succeeds or fails. Once the bardic inspiration die is rolled, it is lost. The creature can have only one bardic inspiration die at a time. So what that means, they cannot place multiple bardic inspirations on you while you still have the one bardic inspiration. You have to wait until that bardic inspiration is used until you can have another bardic inspiration on them. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if the D&D rules for 2024 has changed that. Be patient with me, boys and girls, and other lovely people. And there's a thing for a bard called Jack of all trades. At second level, you can add half your proficiency bonus, round it down to an ability check you make that doesn't already include your proficiency bonus. Now you gotta bear with me on that. I'm still trying to figure that one out too. I'm sorry. Song of Rest. Begin at second level. You can use soothing music or oration to revitalize your wounded allies during a short rest. If you or any friendly creature you can hear or your performance, you gain hit points at the end of the short rest by spending one or more hit dice. Each of these creatures regain an extra 1d6 hit points. The extra hit points increase when you reach certain levels as this class to 1d8, 9th level, to 1d10, 13th level, and 1d12 at 17th level. And that's another thing. And it's called expertise. At third level, you choose 2 of your proficiencies. Excuse me. Sorry, you gotta bear with me. This is my first stream. I'm kind of nervous. Expertise. Choose 2 of your skill proficiencies. Your proficiency bonus is double to any ability check you make to use either of your chosen proficiencies. At 10th level, you can choose another 2 skill proficiencies to gain this benefit. And then there's something called Font of Inspiration. Beginning when you reach 5th level, you grant all your expended uses of bardic inspiration when you finish a short or long rest. It doesn't have to be long rest anymore. It can be short or long rest. And that begins at 5th level if you make it to 5th level. Because sometimes some people die before they even reach 5th level. I'm not cursing anybody. I'm just saying what happens to certain groups in D&D, whether it be a TPK or another player death. And then there's something called Counter Charm. At 6th level, you gain the ability to use musical notes, words of power, or to disrupt mind-influencing effects. As an action, you can start a performance that lasts until the end of your next turn. During that time, you and any friendly creatures within 30 feet of you have advantage of saving throws against being frightened or charmed. A creature must be able to hear you to gain the benefit. The performance ends early if you are incapacitated or silenced at the voluntary end. No action required. So that means this counter charm is concentration. Now we have something called concentration spells, or concentrate with something that involves concentration. That means you have to remain focused on it. You got to remain conscious or like you remain conscious, or if you cast another concentration spell, that immediately counts. That means cancels out the other concentration spell. So when you say, let's see, if you want to use the spell banishment, banishment is when you cast like you see a creature within range of you. You have like and you cast banishment, they have to make a Constitution saving throw. If they pass it, they are not banished. And when if they do fail, they are immediately banished to another realm for a certain period of time. What I remember, it's up to 1 minute, but you have to remain concentrated on that spell. Otherwise, if they defeat a Constitution throw again, they immediately out of banish. But you can choose to lose concentration on that spell if you want to gain, surround that creature. Because when you banish a creature, it does not follow you. It once you drop it, or you become incapacitated or die, the banishment immediately ends, and they appear where you have any area where you have banished them. And magical secrets for a bard. By 10th level, you have plundered magical knowledge. You have plundered magical knowledge from a wide spectrum of disciplines. Choose 2 spells from any classes, including this one. A spell you choose must be up to a level you can cast, as shown on the bard table on a cantrip. The chosen spells count as bard spells for you, and you're included in the number in the spells known column of the bard table. You learn 2 additional spells from any classes of 14th level, again at 18th level. Now, College of Lore. College of Lore, I just explained this. Bards of the College of Lore know something about most things, collecting bits of knowledge from sources such as diverse as scholarly tomes and peasant tales, while singing folk ballads and taverns or elaborate compositions. You guys, you understand me? Just stop me if you can understand me. These bards use their gifts to hold audiences spellbound. When the applause dies down, the audience members might find themselves questioning everything they held to be true from their faith and priesthood or the local temple to their loyalty to the king. Now, what they're saying is bards excel at spreading rumors, whether they're false rumors or rumors that retain a grain of truth, but rumors nonetheless. They are skilled at spreading widespread gossip, whether it be in a village, a city, or an entire kingdom. They do it well and they do it good. And sometimes some bards do it without shame whatsoever to gain notoriety or to achieve a certain goal for their party. Like I said, bards are excellent liars. They love using the rumor mill. They can spread rumors from villages all the way to empires, possibly casting doubt on certain individuals, certain political figures, certain people who hold sway over certain individuals. It's kind of scary because that's what makes bards scary. It's how much they make a rumor believable with the stories that they tell. And let's see. The loyalty of these bards lies in the pursuit of beauty and truth, not in fealty to a monarch or following the tenets of a deity. A noble who keeps such a bard as a herald or advisor knows that the bard would rather be honest than polite. Not necessarily true. I've seen people do that differently. Some bards lie because they like lying. So, they're not capable of telling the truth. They just don't like telling the truth. They have a strange relationship with the truth. The college members gather in libraries and sometimes in actual colleges, complete with classrooms and dormitories, to share their lore with one another. They also meet at festivals or fairs of state where they can expose corruption, unravel lies, or poke fun at self-important figures of authority. So they love toppling certain individuals. They love doing it. They see the beauty in it because they see it as doing something good for the people or get revenge for a certain individual, rather be for themselves or be for a loved one or be for a whole group of people, a population. Like, let's say they want to stop a greedy noble from raising taxes or framing a certain individual in that village to make themselves look good, to gain very to appear very good in that noble's eye, in that the population's eyes. But that bar comes in and slices that in half. They come in and start the rumor, and they cut out they cut out the corruption. They cut it at the core, and somehow the nobles the nobles poll ratings go way down after that because people start seeing the noble in a whole different light. Now the bar doesn't have to be well known. They can just like be a certain individual playing as a concerned citizen and spreading rumors. Like I said, bars is a scary class because they know how to do this and they do it well. Now I'm gonna move forward. I'm just playing bits and pieces of Bard. I'm gonna have part two of this video. Don't you worry. Stay tuned. It will come tomorrow. And there is a class. Okay, and there's a class. It's gonna be my last one today. Then I gotta have to split. Clerics are the healers of the group. Supports. Their main ability, or I have to say, is intelligence. Hold up. Right, it's constant. I didn't know that it's Constitution. Because it's Constitution. I thought it was always intelligence, but I'm thinking wizard. They are the healers of the group. People who see that, like, if a person is badly injured, rather it's an NPC or a PC, they go up. Let's say a person is down to 14 hit points. They heal that person while they use lay on hands, cure wounds. Yes, see. Any healing spells that they can use, whether it be cure wounds, lay on hands. Clerics come with a variety of healing spells, and that will make some beneficial parts. Because if you have a party that does not have a cleric, I just have like a wizard, they have a bard, they have a barbarian, they have a rogue, they have a ranger, but they lack a cleric. I'm not saying that party is weak, but they're missing one major component of a group that is needed in every group if you are to play in a D&D campaign, and that is a cleric. Because a party needs a cleric, and some small or large way to survive. Because if you don't, I don't know what to tell you, it's 50-50 at that point. The clerics are known to be divine agents. They worship a certain deity. Now, whether it be a homebrew or a campaign mod or module, their deity will be usually a god of healing, love, or order. And it won't be anybody like if you're a death cleric, like a death domain cleric. You do you. I don't judge, but usually I see clerics who usually go on the side of light and not of darkness. Like Pike, for example, in Critical Role. She worships Sarenrae. And she's all about light and light and order. And now there is the armor they're allowed to wear. They're allowed to wear light armor or medium armor and shields. They can carry any weapon depending on the class and race you choose to play with. Whether you be a Goliath cleric, a human cleric, a half elf or like a high elf cleric, or a tiefling cleric. Y'all can carry long swords, but based on the constitution or your strength, I mean, it's how much you can carry. Yes, see. Now for clerics, the thing is the amount of spells that they can learn, according to the 2014 rulebook, sorry, words are really hard. And so like only can learn up to 4 total spells. But the cantrips they can learn is up to 5. But that only can it's true if you want to, just a full cleric, just straight cleric. But not if you want the multi-class, like cleric wizard, cleric barbarian, no not cleric barbarian, let's see, cleric sorcerer, cleric druid, any so forth. But that's the only spells they can learn up to 4 level spells. Which my personal opinion is not much. But if you're a smart D&D player, if you want to be a smart D&D player, you can, use those spells to great effect. Like with clerics and druids, I believe, at a certain level, they gain a spell called the resurrection spell. And what that spell is, now hear me on this. It does not happen immediately. There has to be certain spell components, like a diamond worth 500 to 1,000 gold pieces. But like I said, a diamond or another item that's worth that much gold. And they can use that in a ceremony or a ritual, so to speak. Like I said, it does not happen immediately, but it will happen if if people contribute to the ritual. Now, I only seen this on Critical Role. Shout out to Critical Role, by the way. Glad I seen it in any other campaign. But it's the way clerics are played. The way the resurrection spell is played. It's an awesome spell, but I think as it has been in the past 20 years or the past 10 years, the past 10 days, in order for the resurrection spell to work, they'll quote me on it. Like I said, I'm still new to the streaming thing. I might be stuttering and fumbling over things. Y'all have to forgive me. I'll get better. I promise. Hand up. And so, let's see what it gets there. And clerics are very dangerous when they face undead. And we mean by that because undead are usually unholy beings, like zombies, vampires, banshees, whites, skeletons, mummy lords, anything of the undead variety. If you are a cleric, then yeah, hell yeah, anything undead is your favorite enemy. Let's see. And I think that is where I will end today's session. I know I fumbled it. I didn't get to the things I wanted to today, but it reached the hour point, the hour limit. And so I'd like to shout out to anybody that watches this. Anybody that wants to watch it to learn the basics of D&D, come to my channel, like to subscribe. You won't be disappointed. If you can't make it, send me all your love and congratulations because this is my first time streaming. And so I'd like to thank everybody that is watching or will be watching. And thank you. And I'd like to give a shout out to all to all the people who gave me inspirations for starting my live stream. That'll be Cancer Moon Cleric from Altar Archives. Go watch them. Altar Archives is on Twitch, Spotify, and on YouTube. They are a great group of people. They love playing D&D, and they play every Wednesday. And Cancer Moon Cleric is my DM. Love her. Shout her out. She's on Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok. If you're interested in playing a game with her, go ahead. She's on those 3 platforms. She's ready to play. She's ready. She's ready to expand her D&D base. You can find her on Start. You can find her games on StartPlaying.com. Like I said, her name is Cancer Moon Cleric. Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch. And you can catch her again live tonight on our Toad Archives on Twitch. That's about 7:30, 8 o'clock. So about 3 or 4 hours from now. And trust me, you won't be disappointed. She's an excellent player. She's an excellent DM, and the people she plays with, the people she DMs, are wonderful people, and you will not be disappointed in how she plays the game or how she DMs the game. Now, thank you. Good night. Good luck. And when I'll start saying that any other sessions, any questions? Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.